Hey my level 7 pioneers, by the end of this video you should be knowing the difference between a simple interest and a compounded interest. So we are given these two scenarios here. We are having Greg and Jane. So Greg is investing 100 rands in his savings account at 10% per annum interest rate. How much will he have in 3 years, right? So we have been told from our statement that Greg is using what? A simple interest. Actually, I didn't include it. A simple interest, right? So usually, most of the time, they will tell you which kind of an interest rate a person is using. So in this case, Greg is using a simple interest. So we are going to be using this formula for a simple interest, right? So if you can see, the unknown variables, they are the same from the simple interest and the compounded interest. So they simply mean the very same thing. So A simply means the final amount, and P represent a present amount. Some they prefer to call it the principal amount, meaning that it is the money that it is invested right now, right? The money that they have right now. And then I is our interest rate and N is our period. So maybe from grade 11 to 12 you will be dealing with months, but for grade 10 you are only going to be dealing with years, right? Okay, let's solve this question. So since they have told us that Greg is using a simple interest type of an investment, we are going to use this formula. So it's going to be A is equals to P 1 plus I N, right? So the question is, how much will he have made in 3 years? So that means we are looking for A, because A is going to be our final amount or our future amount, and then the present amount is the money that Greg is having right now, which is 100 rands, and then our interest is 10%. So if you can find that percentage sign on your calculator, you can simply just type 10%, but for us all, we can just say 10 divided by 100, right? So, and then our period is going to be 3 years, and then you're going to simply punch that on your calculator. And when I punched that on my calculator, I found out that Greg is going to be having 130 rands by the end of 3 years. And then let's go to Jane. Jane invests the very same amount, which is 100 rands, in her savings account at 10% per annum compounded interest. So the main word we should note on this statement is that it is compounded, right? So she invests the very same amount as Greg at 10%, the very same rate, but the difference is that Jane is using a compounded interest. So the question is, how much will she have made in 3 years, right? So let's calculate how much will she have made. So we are going to be use this formula. So A, as we discussed, is going to be our final amount, our future amount actually. So our P is the money that she is investing right now, which is 100 rands. 1 plus 10 divided by 100 to the power of 3, because that's the number of years that she left that money into her savings account. And when you punch that on your calculator, you should be getting 133 rands and 10 cents. Right, we can clearly see that Jane made more money than Greg. So what is the difference between simple interest and a compounded interest? A simple interest is simply the 10% of your initial amount. So for an example, let me make a graphical representation of these amounts. Let's say here it's our first year, our second year, and our third year, and then we are having 100 rands here, we are having 110 rands here, we are having 120 rands here, and we are having 130 rands here. So initially they are here, both of them. On the first year, Greg made 10 rands, because 10 rands is a 10% of 100 rands. So that means Greg was here on the first year. On the second year as well, he made another 10 rands, which is going to place him at 120, and then on our final here he made 130 rands. So that means Greg is investing on a type of a straight line investment plan, which is the simple interest. Let's look at, actually let me draw it in green. So this is Greg, right? And then we are having Jane. Jane on the first year, she also made the 10% of that 100 rands, which is 110 rands. But the difference with Jane is that on her second year, they took the 10% of 110 rands, not 100 rands like Greg. So obviously, her investment is going to be a bit better than Greg's. And then on the third year as well, that places Jane to 133 rands. So her savings account is more of an exponential one, right? So hopefully you can see the difference. Jane invested on a more realistic investment account. So Greg simply invested in a simple interest. So if you are having any question, my level 7 pioneers, please post it on our comment section below. And if this content was valuable to you, hit that like button and share with other classmates who needs the very same help. So let's go to our next question, whereby we treat simple interest rate, whereby we are going to try to find the present amount, the interest rate, and the period, because so far we know how to find our final amount. So cheers guys, let's go to our next video.